Hey everyone. I wanted to do this video because it's been, I kind of dropped off there after my last video, and I was on a roll in my book. I was really feeling motivated to make videos again, and I try to make videos when I'm called to, and sometimes it seems like I'm on a roll and I'm gonna be on a roll, but I also don't want to make them when I'm not called to. And so it's been, kind of a couple of weeks of going somewhat dark, other than being fully engaged. And this is Shnu, by the way. This is the new addition to the family. He's been here for a year, and I wanted to formally introduce Shnu because he's a pretty cute little guy. And I know if you've seen my videos, you've met Stella, but I just felt like putting Shnu in here today. But yeah, so on my last video, before I kind of dropped off, I was talking about purpose. And the reason why I brought that up was because I had lived so long in my life, just trying to find what my purpose was. Like it was like this thing that I knew, back, in my late teens and early 20s, that was just something that was massively missing. And I had been, it's like it was dormant, the fact that I had this purpose that each and every one of us has. In my view, we all have our own authentic purpose. And I had gone through kind of my teenage years and all of those things, and then spent a lot of time in nature, and that was like a abrupt shift. I started spending just this great deal of time in nature, which woke me up to just this whole other world. And what that also did was it just elevated my state and made me realize that there's so much, far greater of purpose, that, I was completely blind to. Like I said, it was almost like it was dormant, like growing up, and where I had lost it, and I knew it was there, but it was depressing me to not be living within it and not be fulfilling that. It was just paralyzing and depressing. And it's one of these reasons why I dropped off over the last couple of weeks was just due to all of the events that are happening right now that took place. The major event, I should say, it was one large event that's obviously we all are aware that took place. And that is it's hard to say it for me, but we know whose life was lost in such just a brutal and senseless way. And I think I don't like to talk about it or say it because there's nothing that can capture the gravity of just all of that. And it's been just powerful for me because we have somebody who was fearlessly walking in their courage and their purpose. And it was very humbling to me. And, I know a lot of people around, and obviously a lot of people have made different choices to be able to find what their greater purpose is since this happened, and to be humbled and to just kind of look within and see how they can too be, kind of courageous and step into whatever was actually meant for them in this life, and collectively, but also individually. And so again, I'm kind of just making this video to kind of say, why I've disappeared, but also just to highlight that for me personally, I've been just incredibly humbled, and really have taken just natural steps to self-reflect. It hasn't been forced in any way. I've just been called deeply to self-reflect, and a lot of that time has been spent just, taking my kids fishing, or going out with the dogs and going hiking, or baking or cooking, and just spending that time in the present moment with my kids, and not getting hijacked by different channels of screens or different channels of just whatever it can be, which I think that's been my biggest thing in that self-reflection, is being, I've never been one to spend time on social media, but the thing that gets me is YouTube. and YouTube, and just dwelling in spaces that, you know, you can kind of justify in your mind that maybe you think you should spend the time in, but in reality, it's not fulfilling a purpose that's making this world or your own world a better place. And so that was what personally came to me. And maybe you've had time in your life too over these last couple of weeks to kind of spend on reflecting and seeing what isn't serving you in your life, or what isn't helping you fulfill your purpose, or just being more present with your surroundings. And you know, I actually went to church, and I'm not just echoing this because I've heard this all around. And I went the first Sunday after that event took place a couple of weeks ago with Charlie Kirk. And I did go to church, and I was really, really glad that I did. And that's something that I haven't gone to for about a year. But I haven't always been a regular church goer, and I'm definitely not someone who regularly reads the Bible, but I'm somebody who my spirituality and my faith is the number one, and it leads everything I do in my life, and I live it and I breathe it, and it's the one thing. I pray every day. I pray constantly throughout the day. I try to be present. I try to honor and cherish this life, but I haven't been one to, you know, really delve into the Bible, especially in the last 10, 15 years. And that's something that I'm revisiting and finding a lot of, there's been certain verses and things that I have definitely looked to in the last couple of years, but I haven't like fully immersed myself in reading the Bible or in listening to, you know, church service. And so, you know, just mentioning here that that's been something it's just felt really right, and it's felt really good to be kind of cleansing from all these other external things, and just being fulfilled with people as well, like a community and people who are also kind of on that same path. Because I could go down and down and down, continue to go, but my whole purpose of this video is just to kind of highlight that that one of the things, and I want to honor this person who obviously lost their life, and I can't do that with any words, so I'm not even gonna try. But there is one thing that has really come to light for me, and that has really been in the forefront, and that is that I remember one thing that Charlie Kirk said, I don't know, a year or two ago. Well, it's been like a couple of years ago, because I started watching him a couple of years ago, that really resonated with me. And that was that, you know, and part of like listening to his his messages and his stances on things, and I'm not saying that each and every single one of them, though I could say I can't find one that really doesn't align with me. I really resonate with a lot of his views, and it was just so like refreshing to have somebody stand for those so clearly, when they're ones that you almost can't talk about or feel comfortable talking about, or you know, and not that you need to. You can have whatever views you want, and you don't have to run out and yell it off the rooftops. But the one that really resonated with me was just how, you know, how like his stance so largely on families and families being together, and on having a solid mother and a solid father inside your home and your family and for your kids, and being a whole family. And that's something that I was really fortunate to grow up with, but it's not something that I get to have and provide for my own kids, unfortunately and sadly. But I'm making the ultimate best of that. And you know, that's something that really resonates with me, because I'm a single mom, and you know, we have a split family. I have 2 kids, and they go with their dad every other weekend and like once a week, and you know, it's a lot to juggle, it's a lot to get used to. But not only does it take you from being, at least for me in my position, it takes me from being just the role of the mother. I'm all of a sudden the role of trying to be all these things that wants to provide everything that I wish that I could, that was already provided had we been in a whole family. And so trying to be both and all, and be able to instill values that would be nice to have it be coming from their father in the home. Like that would be the ideal. But with that, and the point I'm getting at with that message that Charlie would also say is that it all starts at home, and that is the crisis. And I really believe that as well, that is the crisis, is, you have to find the root and the source of the issues. And we have a really bad problem here that is spread like the plague, and that's, split families. And it's just so sad that that's the way that our society has gone. And really am seeing that turning point, not trying to sound cliche, but I think this is a turning point, and hopefully the values will become clear. And I think the realizations hopefully will come to light that, there's so many traps. It's really hard to be a strong individual, and without faith, you have nothing. You have nothing, because if you don't have faith, and it doesn't even have to specifically fall into a religion. I mean, I think faith is its own thing. And if you don't have that, then you see exactly what happens. And when you have, it's a breakdown. It's hate, it's anger, it's death, it's killing. It's just all these things that has nowhere to go, because it just doesn't have anywhere to grow from. It just crumbles when you don't have faith. And that's what you're seeing in a lot of the ways that many people are embodying right now. And that's, where we come back to just so much of I could go on and on and I'm still not getting to my point, but I'll try to kind of get back to what I was getting at, in the fact of that's what I was going to say is, I spent a large majority of my time just so angry and frustrated in my early 20s, even once because I was just so mad that I saw all these ways that it was like everybody was ignoring, that were so important. And a lot of it came down to health and food and Western medicine and just all of these things that were like just infuriating to me. And they made me so angry, and they made me isolate myself because I couldn't connect with people on this. And this was way before we had like a common dialogue about it on the internet or groups or anything like that. It was just like way back in the day. And you could feel really isolated really quick because people were going blindly around you, and it was just making me furious. And so, it's like I had this whole desire to just like save the world. I want to save the world. And it's good to have that fire. And I've always had that fire, within me to just want to save this big old, like the whole thing, like, gotta like figure out how to save the whole thing. And it really like comes down to looking right around you in your sanctuary, in your home. Are you making it a sanctuary of a place of love and light, and where only positivity and love is welcomed in your home and in your space? And are you giving your all and all of your unconditional love to your family and raising strong kids, and not checking out and not channeling, allowing yourself and your family to be channeled? Because it does. And that's what I'm wrapping around to and circling back around to is, what Charlie said was that, and what resonates with me. And it's not just that Charlie came up with this bright idea, but he's the one who was preaching it basically. And his message was, it does start in the home. And, you can sit here and complain, and you can sit here and think that you need to spend all this time, just kind of, like stewing in online chatter and all these things that you think you need to know every detail of, and getting all angry and pointing fingers and, on these big things. Or you can start at home and be present for your family and for yourself and for your own soul and just for your own purpose. And that was where it was an underlying thing that I have at times had to be completely reality checked on. And that's where I've been completely humbled over this last couple of, these last 2 weeks. And it's something that was just like always there and frustrating me, because I was seeing ways that, I didn't want my son to be sitting there on Roblox or whatever games and on YouTube and just like sucked into that crap for the amount of time that he felt like he needed to. And it was just frustrating. But here I am sitting here stewing on whatever the issue is, you know, in the current moment, and not giving my all to the present moment. So, you know, these last couple of weeks have been spent, like I said, getting my kids out, which we are adventurers, and I think experiencing things is the best way to know anything and to have any say on anything. So we've been continuing to be close to earth, but magnifying that and, you know, having more purpose in our life. And just continuing to secure our faith and our trust and not live in fear, and just continue to persevere through anything that's not worthy of our time and attention, and pray for everything that appears to be crumbling or that seems far from anything that is less than that. So that's where my focus has been, and this is kind of just a random spur of the moment video. I do still intend to continue, and I think I'm like 4 subscribers away from 200. That's a huge deal for me, and you know, I'm going to continue to go on with my channel, and I hope to continue to gain more clarity and more clarity and more clarity, especially now that I'm having more clarity. And so if you want to be here on this journey with me, please subscribe. This is Purified People, and the whole point of this is to purify your life, your mind, your body, and your spirit, and so that you can live a purposeful life. And so yeah, if this resonates with you, please hit that subscribe button, and I love you all, and I will see you all in the next video.